What's up, guys? What's up? In today's video, we're going to be talking about, should I be putting a reverb on my track or should I be putting it on a bus track? All right, let's try this all over again. What's up, guys? I'm Kris KeyZ, and welcome back to the Key channel for music creators, music producers, and entrepreneurs. In today's video, I want to cover a question that was given to me, and that is, how can I use reverb on my vocals, specifically R&B vocals? Now, this is a good question because I've gotten it more than once. But first, if you're new to this channel and you want to get a more in-depth idea about reverb and how to make your mixes sound a little bit better, you'll want to check out my episode number 9 podcast on the keys method. And I talked to my good friend John Byrne, who's a mixing engineer in London, and we cover a lot of tips and hacks on how you can spice up your mixes. So now let's get into step 1 of using reverb. All right, so what I did is create a quick 4-bar loop and just stretch it out to little 16 bars. Now, I don't have an R&B singer with me, so I will be doing the singing. Now, there's a heads up. I'm decent at production. I'm not very good at singing, but I do have auto-tune. So that means I will sound just like everybody else on the radio. Here we go. All right, guys, I'm back, and I have auto-tune on my vocals. So step number 1 is to get some melodies down. So let's create some melodies. Let's press record and see what we come up with. Here we go. How to get a reverb. How to get a reverb on my. How to get a reverb on my track. Whoa, whoa, whoa. How to get a reverb. Whoa, whoa, whoa. How to get a reverb. Not bad. All right, so what I did was just add a quick EQ to it and an RVox with a little bit of compression. So this is what it sounds like now, pretty much the same. How to get a reverb. How to get a reverb on my. How to get a reverb on my track. Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, so cool. So yeah, we have the melodies there. Nothing's to it, no reverbs on it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I've already pulled up. We're gonna go with the Reverb. That's a Waves plugin. It's a reverb plugin. You can use tons of different plugins. So you want to decide what the track needs. You know, does it need like a chamber reverb or a hall reverb? And different plugins are going to give you a different tone, I guess you could say. But for this example, we're just going to use a common plugin. Most people have Waves. If not, by all means, you can be using a Logic stock plugin reverb. They pretty much will have the same functions on them. So I put it directly on the track, and this is what it's going to sound like. Now I'm going to mess with the wet and the dry. That's the main thing you're going to want to mess with if you're putting it directly on the track. So this is option number 1, directly on the track. So I'll go back to 100% wet. So you can see, I mean, just putting it on it and playing with the wet and dry is going to give you a really cool vibe. So you can get away just by messing with the wet and dry. And I think we found maybe around that 40% mark. That was kind of like a decent level for you to start out. Now within that reverb, you're going to have your size room. So right now we have the size all the way at 100. So that's like a big old chamber. Just imagine you going in a huge room. If I pull that size down, it will make that room a little bit smaller, or a lot of bit smaller if I go all the way down. And then you also have your feedback or your time on that delay. So do I want that reverb to go for 6 seconds or 2 seconds? You know, so that's what your time is. So let's play with those along with our melodies. Again, here we go. How to get a reverb. How to get a reverb on my. How to get a reverb on my track. So you can see when I brought the time up on it and the size, you can hear a little bit longer tail on the reverb. All right, so that's the emphasis on putting a reverb on the track. So I mean, it is good, and you can also go in most reverbs and mess with the EQ a little bit as well. Let's mess with that and see what that sounds like. Let's go back to 40. How to get a reverb on my time down. How to get a reverb on my track. I'm really emphasizing so you can exaggerate so you can hear the difference. So you can see when I pull the EQ up more on the high end, that gives you more of a up close, personal type of reverb. So it doesn't seem like the person me singing, I'm so far away. So that's a little trick you can do if you want to make it seem like they're closer, a little bit more up personal, intimate. You might want to turn the reverb, the EQ up on it. So all in all, I mean, I've used reverbs before on tracks. I mean, when you do, you're going to have to turn the wet down pretty drastically. You know, the size kind of depends on the song and the time as well. Your pre-delay over here, that's kind of like your slapback before the vocal actually hits the delay. So let's exaggerate with the pre-delay a little bit. How to get a reverb. How to get a reverb on my, how to get a reverb on my track. How to get a reverb. I don't know if you can quite really hear that if you don't have the speakers on, but I mean the pre-delay is just going to be a little bit before, a little bit after. So cool. I mean, that's pretty much your basic functions on putting the reverb on the track. Now, me personally, I prefer if I'm mixing R&B vocals to bust the reverb, simply because it gives me a little bit more control with what I can do with the vocals. So let me turn this off. And what we're going to do now is take this and bust the reverb over here. Now, doing this, what you want to do, if you're not familiar with Logic, all I did was just go over here to our bus, and I added to my bus one. That was an empty bus, and then you just need to go over here and turn your send up. So I'm going to take this copy this same exact reverb, and put it over here, and now we're going to bust it. So let me close this one out. So now I think the difference between busting it is it gives you a little bit more control. Now you might not want to use all the exact functions within your VST. You can now go in and personally EQ the reverb, throw compression and stuff on that without affecting your whole track. All right, so yeah, so let's play with some ideas, and let's play with the reverb on busting it to our vocals now. How to get a reverb. How to get a reverb on my, how to get a reverb on my track. Whoa, whoa, whoa. How to get a reverb. Whoa, whoa. How to get a reverb. How to get a reverb. How to get a reverb on my, how to get a reverb on. So you can see as I start playing with it, the reverb kind of gives it just a slightly different feel. To me, it gives it a little bit more openness on the reverb. Now, the reason I'm exaggerating a lot of these effect guys just so you can see the difference. But the main reason I do like busting the reverb instead of using it on the track is because, like I said, it gives me a little bit more flexibility. Now, when I had the reverb directly on the track, let's just say if I play, let me play it back, the reverb on the track. So if I want to say EQ just that reverb, you know, I could do that within my plugin. But what if I wanted to add, say, a delay or something like that? Now I'm limited. You know, if I add a delay on the track now, let me play it, add a delay. It's going to actually delay everything, and I might not want that. So let me play with the delay. You see, it becomes a little bit too washy for me. Now, the advantages of busting it to a reverb or using buses basically in general is now you have the option. So let me take this reverb off and the delay. Let me go back to my bus, turn that one on. Here we go. So now, what if now I want to EQ or add just a delay on that specific reverb? I can now do that. So let me play it back. How to get a reverb. How to get a reverb. Now let me add that delay on my reverb. How to get a reverb on my track. You see how that works? So I'm now adding that same delay, and this is still way more than what I would do on a normal song. But by me using a bus, I can now control whatever plugin or effect a little bit more. So those are two different ways that I like to use reverb, specifically on the R&B vocal, sometimes on the track itself, but more than likely I like to bus it so I can get a little bit more control. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that quick tutorial about reverb. If nothing else, I hope it gives you more excited and just curious of how to use reverbs in different ways, you know, using your EQ. And also, if you haven't started busting your reverbs, try experimenting with that because it does give you a lot more control in your mixes. And also, if you're more curious about learning more tips, tricks, and hacks about Logic Pro, be sure to check out these two videos over here on the side. I give a lot of good gems on advancing your music production. Until next time, guys, y'all stay creative. Peace.